Welcome to LDS Teaching Toolbox, where we provide for you some teaching resources in your teaching of Come Follow Me. This week we're focusing on the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. Wanted to share with you, first of all, some of the lesson resources we're going to be covering. We're going to be providing a teaching tip. Don't miss that. Great teaching tip. An overview, not the whole thing, but an overview of the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. Some great visuals, questions you might consider, quotes that you might use, two really good stories, and an object lesson I think you're going to love. So first of all, let me start off with the teaching tip. Don't skip this one. This is a teaching tip that really had an effect on my teaching early on, and I think affected a lot of the teachers around me. I was in a workshop where a teacher was presenting to all of us, and he asked this question. He said, "Are we teaching the Old Testament or the gospel of Jesus Christ is found in the Old Testament?" Well, I wasn't brave enough to raise my hand, but one of the other teachers raised his hand, and he said, "Why? I think we're teaching the Old Testament." And the presenter went, and we all went, "No." He said, no, history. The Old Testament, we could just focus on names, faces, people, and places and teach the Old Testament. But we might do that and miss the gospel of Jesus Christ that's found in the Old Testament. And then to explain, he used this object lesson, this analogy that I've come to love. He said, "This is a diamond ring." And we said, "Yeah, we know that." And he said, "But maybe you don't know that part of the diamond ring is called the setting. And the only purpose of the setting is to preserve, first of all, so it's secure, the diamond's secure, but also to present the diamond. To hold it up in such a way that the light passes through it so we can enjoy the beauty of the diamond." And he said this, the history that we find in Old Testament, New Testament, Pearl of Great Price, wherever, that's the setting. That history is only given us to preserve and present the diamonds of truth. And we went, whoa. He said the diamonds, the things that change our lives, it's the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's what we need to focus on. And if we spend too much time talking about the history, we might end up with a diamond ring that looks like that. We've missed an opportunity to really focus on what really matters. Elder Richard G. Scott encouraged teachers, parents also, to help learners find the diamonds of truth that sometimes must be carefully mined from the pages of the Old Testament. It takes a while to maybe uncover them and find them. That was a great lesson that I learned, and so grateful for the analogy. Now, it's going to appear like a total contradiction to what I just said, because we're going to jump into the history. But hang with me here. We're going to do an overview of the books by talking about ZEN, three great men. Zerubbabel, who was appointed by King Cyrus in circa, that means approximately 538 BC, to lead the first group of exiles, about 50,000 exiles, back to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple. Those who returned were of the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. There was some of Levi still around. Most of the other tribes are gone now. 10 tribes have been captured by the Assyrians, and they're gone. Ezra was a priest and a scribe who leads the second group of exiles back to Jerusalem in about 458 BC. His mission was a little bit different. His main mission was to rebuild the people by teaching them the scriptures. One thing to have a temple. The other thing is to have the temple in you, the Spirit of God in you. That was Ezra's mission. And you have Nehemiah, Jewish official serving with King Artaxerxes. Okay, don't say that too fast. Artaxerxes of Persia. By this time, this is approximately 445 BC, the king grants him permission. Nehemiah has heard about that Jerusalem still needs a wall, Part of it's still in ruin. And he is granted permission to return to Jerusalem. And his main mission was to rebuild the walls around Jerusalem. So you have the temple up. You have the people starting to get the Spirit of God in them, but no walls to protect the people and the temple. So what are some of the doctrinal diamonds? There's the history. Let's dig down, right? See what diamonds we can find in the history. You have three sources of strength and safety. You have temples being built, scriptures being restored and taught to the people, and you have walls that are being built. Let's see if we can find some parallels there. Doctrinal diamonds, temple building, is one of the identifiers of the Lord's true church. Look for a church that builds temples, because the Lord built temples in the Old Testament. He built temples in the New Testament. He built temples in our day. And I think if you've been watching, he's still building temples now. At an amazing rate, the Lord is building temples that are flooding the earth. Scriptures provide strength and safety. There's some diamonds in there as you teach about Ezra. The Lord's covenants and commandments are walls of spiritual safety. We're not needing the physical protection that they needed back then, but we're needing even more of the spiritual protection in our day. And things that seem impossible are possible with God's help. Well, here's some of the questions you might consider. Now remember, we're encouraging you to read the Come Follow Me manual. There's lots of good things in there that we're not going to cover here, but here's some questions you might consider asking. Why do you think the Lord puts so much emphasis on temple building? Great question. These are questions that can elicit some good response from your listeners or from family members. What are the blessings you receive from the temple? Why are the scriptures so critical in our lives? And how can our covenants be like walls to protect us? This is some fun questions. Here's some quotes that tie into the questions. Another comforting blessing of temple worship is the assurance of protection and peace from the storm that is upon us in our day. Some of the safest places that Heavenly Father has established for the gathering of His people are in the temples of the Lord. See that? One of the reasons we're building temples everywhere. How about this with Scripture? Scriptures are like packets of light that illuminate our minds and give place to guidance and inspiration from on high. See, those are sources of strength and help. They can become the key to open the channel to communion with our Father in heaven and His beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Well, we've got some more quotes that you can use. All of these resources will be down below in the scriptures. You just click on the links. It will take you to it. You can download these. This is another place where you can get some great quotes on why we build temples and how they are identifiers to the Lord's true church. How about some visuals? These are fun. These are ones that we've created with AI, and so you're free to use them as you wish. Here we have Zerubbabel working with a group of men as they rebuild the temple of Jerusalem. You can see the wall is not up yet. That didn't happen at that time. Or you can talk about Nehemiah actually leading the people as they rebuilt the walls around Jerusalem. Great visuals, fun visuals to use. And we have two fun stories. First story is you touched the temple. One of the night watchmen years ago shared an experience he had with President Harold B. Lee, who shared in conference, and that story and the other stories down below. But he said early one morning there were two boys, young boys, who were pulling their little brothers, baby brothers, in wagons. And they approached the night watchman and asked if they could carry their little brothers over and allow them to touch the Salt Lake Temple. Beautiful story, tender story. That's down below. You can read how that turns out. Pertaining to temple work, one of my very favorites. This is from the diary of a man who worked on building the Salt Lake Temple the first time. His assignment was to be a painter, not on the murals, but a painter. And several months before the temple was to be completed, one night he is sitting at the dinner table, and two of his brothers come back, who had passed away, came back from the spirit world to ask him some favors about doing their temple work. Marvelous story. Don't miss that one. That's in the description below also. How about an object lesson? This is an object lesson that you might tie into the book of Nehemiah. What would you say if I told you that I have something in this hand that no one's ever seen before? Well, you might say, well, you've seen it. No, I haven't seen it. You said it's in your hand, right? Yeah, it's in my hand. I can feel it, but I'm not touching it. Wait a minute. You said it's in your hand. You haven't seen it and you're not touching it? Nope. Do you believe me? Do you believe I have something in my hand no one's ever seen and no one's ever touched? I'm not touching it. Do you believe me? Yes or no? Give me an answer. Well, I'm going to show you what's in my hand, because it is possible. It's a peanut. You say, now wait a minute. You were touching that. You had it in your hand. Oh yeah, I was touching that. I was touching the shell, but I wasn't touching that peanut inside. And no one has ever seen it, have they? Well, sometimes things that don't seem possible, I'm guessing you didn't believe me because you didn't think it was possible. There were some who felt the same way when Nehemiah was trying to gather people to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. He approached some of the people and he said this, "Then said I unto them, ye see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lieth waste, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Come and let us build up the wall of Jerusalem, that we be no more a reproach." Here's what they said. Then I told them of the hand of my God, which was good upon me. It's working upon his heart, as also the king's word that he had spoken unto me. And they said, let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for this good work. But when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arabian heard it, they laughed us to scorn and despised us. They didn't think it was possible, so they laughed them to scorn. And sometimes things that don't seem possible are possible when we trust in the Lord. When we have faith in him, he can help us accomplish it, even when it sounds a little nutty. Well, focused on the diamonds this week. Looking forward to seeing you next week when we do another session of LDS Teaching Toolbox, and hope to see you then.